The amazing digital circus is filled with secrets and uncertainties, with each episode progressing and changing the storyline. The fandom contains hundreds of theorists working out all the possibilities. From characters' backstories to the game itself, there's always one subject hardly touched on: the mannequins. The mannequins are seen throughout all of the episodes, but coming closer to the end we see them more frequently, specifically in the background of dialogue and most recently in the trailer for episode 7. Before we start, if you don't know me, hi, I'm Maddie. I post Minecraft content on here, and if that's something you like, go check it out. It's fun. This is my first time making a theory video, but my hyperfixation has literally gotten the better of me. I can't stop thinking about the amazing digital circus. I am no MatPat, unfortunately, RIP, but I am a purple-haired queer, if that helps in any way. Anyways, you guys are probably bored now, so here's my theory number 1. During the pilot episode, a character by the name Kaufmo was introduced only in his abstracted form. Though we do see pictures of him on his door and at the funeral, Pomni and the audience have yet to meet his character fully. This was the first time we saw an abstraction take place. During the trailer, a mannequin can be seen peeking out from a corner, almost as if it was hiding or potentially spying. Maybe this is past friendship instincts wanting to check up on certain characters, like Ribbit. We know that Jax was close to Ribbit and Gangle was also close to Kaufmo, who had both extracted. Now this part of the theory might be a stretch and it isn't much related to the mannequins, rather the abstractions itself, but during the pilot episode, after the intros of the character, minus Pomni, the circus started to glitch as well as the flower pot.
After day after day after day after day we fly.
What's notable about this is the timing. The glitch happens to be just after Kaufmo's intro, which took place. However, he obviously wasn't there and he was in his room abstracting instead. I'm not sure if I'm being delusional, but it would add to the theory that mannequins being past abstracting members, since Caine had to keep at least some part of them around to stop the constant malfunctioning. We already know that touching an abstracting member can result in a member glitching, as shown from Raghavar and Pomni's hand. Maybe this applies to the world as well. It also could explain the exit doors, especially considering how Kaufmo's last message was written on the walls, stating that he had found an exit. Though this theory is crazy, it would add a little bit storyline as well as the character development of those affected. One thing that I would like to mention about these mannequins here is the colour choice, and specifically their positioning. What I mean by positioning is who's in front and who is the main character of them. Even though these mannequins are NPCs, as you can see, and they don't have much of a big kind of role, I would say. The noticeable factor about them is that there's always a purple one in the middle or largely noticeable on the side. But Maddie, what did that have anything to do? But Maddie, it's purple. Maddie, yes, it's purple. Guess who else is purple? I know, call me crazy, but I think there's a little bit of symbolism for Jax. I mean, it's purple, right? And then, hear me out. We see this purple mannequin pushing Gangle over, breaking her mask, which... Do you know who else is purple and breaks Gangle's mask all of the time? Earlier, I mentioned mannequins peeking out from a wall, creating an image that they're hiding, but specifically we're going to look at the spying aspect. My theory is that the game developers deliberately put themselves into a circus to keep tabs on the creator, or specifically Caine. From watching and reading theories, I have no doubt that Caine is somewhat related to an AI program. If not, his coding is unreliable, we see him forget important details, including his own power over minds. If this is true, then Caine will need constant check-ins and reprogramming to give more accurate responses, therefore needing a spy who is always around, going unnoticed by the players. During the pilot episode, Caine mentions his all-seeing eyes.
Right here, where I can keep my hundreds of all-seeing eyes on you!
Implying he's omnipresent. However, he doesn't notice Pomni disappearing into the void until his watch mentions it. Even then, he didn't even know it was Pomni in the void. Maybe these all-seeing eyes are developers or mannequins making sense on why he had to rely on technology to receive word that someone else gone beyond the circus itself. When he finally realises that Kaufmo has abstracted, he says this.
Kaufmo Sophmo abstracted? Why didn't anybody tell me?
Which is strange because it also demonstrates his dependency on others. But why didn't the developers or spies tell him? Well, simply because they were all having tea around him and making sure he doesn't malfunction. These developers or spies could also be lurking in the backgrounds of many other players because they want to know how their well-being is, not only Caine's. When I think about the mannequins, I think of two main people. The Invisible Man and Dr. Football. Dr. Football was a mannequin seen in the bath during episode 1 whilst Pomni was looking for Caine, trying to get help, which obviously he didn't know was going on despite all his all-seeing eyes. The man in the bath isn't related to doctors or football, surprisingly, it's just simply Goosework's choice of name. Damn. This scene is more significant than you would think, as the mannequin gets pretty mad at being exposed, setting off an angry face flying at Pomni. This tells us two things. One, that he's an aggressive but powerful character by being able to make potentially harmful defences, and two, that he feels the need to present himself as decent. These mannequins walk around with no clothes on, so why would Dr. Football get so irritated or embarrassed even at this walk-in? So far, we haven't seen any other mannequin demonstrate emotions. It's acting almost human-like, portraying traits like anger and the need to hide your body in private times, even though he has nothing to be embarrassed about. It's important to note that the mannequin we see in the background later on looks exactly like Dr. Football. Maybe he is one of the developers, or at least someone who contains human emotions and instincts. The only other mannequin we see repeat is the Disappearing Man. This character is easier to identify by his cowboy hat, which we also see the Gummy Bear Bandits wear. His first appearance was at the bar scene. No lines were spoken before he vanished. The whole scene was in black and white, so we didn't truly understand his appearance until later on in the episode, where he's about to sing on stage. But just again, before he can say anything, he just disappears. Again. We do see him one more time, and that was in episode 6, where he just walks out the stall, about to say something, and then boom! Guess what happened, guys? Take a wild guess of what happened. Aside from that, we don't see him in the trailer, at all. So, what's happened to him? Well, I simply don't know. When Caine made Gumgoo disappear, there were cool effects, but the Disappearing Man just disappears whenever he tries talking. Maybe it's a glitch in the system, or Caine is hiding a self-aware mannequin. There is one more mannequin that stands out from the rest of them, which is Ming, but we're not going to quite touch his subjects yet, because that will come in later. My point being of all these listing and descriptions is that I think the Disappearing Guy and Dr. Football both have something in common, being developers or past workers. Dr. Football being either a spy or the developer for the CNA, meaning he's always watching people, trying to get inside information, and the Disappearing Guy being a rogue developer or worker, which is why Caine doesn't want him to speak.
Wow.
As an audience, we are pretty clueless about the development and the creators of the circus. Though the trailer suggests more upcoming clues about them, we are still left in the dark after even 6 episodes. What we are certain about, though, is a company, C&A, who most people have interpreted as Caine and Abel. Caine is a major part of the series and seems to be holding the circus together, so why does he forget his own power? In the pilot episode, Pomni mentions she can't remember her own name. Caine replies with,
Nobody can remember their name once they enter the digital circus. One of the few things I don't have control over are your minds.
However, during episode 5, Caine makes Jax believe he's a vegan, practically coding it into his mind. Caine is also seen relaying information extremely fast into Jax's brain in episode 6. Not even 30 seconds into the pilot episode, he's animated to be twisting and changing your mind. Though this might just be an animation preference, it is still interesting to see the foreshadowing. So what does this all mean for the mannequins? His forgetful tendencies relating back to his abilities applies to the NPCs. When Gumigoo came through the portal arriving in the circus, Caine immediately gets rid of him, saying,
I know you guys love your NPCs, but if I start losing track of who's a human and who's an NPC, who knows what could happen?
This quote grew a lot of theories, including Jack's own backstory, but the thought that came to me is, if Caine forgets who the members and who aren't, has this happened before, and is it still happening? Going back to trailer, we see mannequins plastered on the doors exactly how each member has on their doors leading to the rooms. The mannequins are also shaped to be a basic starter model, perfect for constructing and building a new character. While I'm not saying each member came from Mannequin, it's just odd that the way Mannequin express and move is the same way any of the other members would. Did Caine just simply forget that they weren't real? If he had thought they were members, why wouldn't he invite them to the ventures? This all leads on to my last and final theory. In the Amazing Digital Circus, it's not uncommon to get a character self-aware. Pomni and the other circus members know they're in a game because they're real people. But Gummy Goo, the gummy dinosaur from Ep 2 and 4, became self-aware after glitching out of the map. This obviously goes back to the idea that the circus is poorly built and constructed, leaving gaps for glitches, loopholes, danger, and most importantly, conscience. We have already talked about the main three mannequins, Ming, the disappearing guy, and Dr. Football. Ming behaves in a robot way, his sole purpose pleasing Caine. From what I can tell, when he was first introduced, that was when he was made, so obviously very recently. He talks in a more of a bored, monotone voice and only appears twice. He acts like he isn't feeling any emotion. We can tell this by his body language. He is a complete opposite to the disappearing man. Every time he starts talking, he disappears, almost as if he was being silenced by someone. The disappearing guy is noticeable by his red body and brown cowboy hat compared to Dr. Football, who looks like he's trying to blend in. The disappearing man seems like he needs to make a point or an action to be noticed or heard. Strangely enough, he is the only colourful mannequin we see outside of episode 2. Does he have a second meaning? He expresses himself in a human-like way as well, specifically at the award show when he comes out of the stall. The players can't eat or sleep, so what was the need for a NPC who doesn't possess human emotions to be in there? Who does this remind you of? Dr. Football. I see one as a speaker and one as an insider. Dr. Football being the one having to spy to gather information, and the disappearing guy to be the one trying to use his voice, which obviously isn't working. Or maybe there's a dynamic. The disappearing man wants to help or warn the players, and Dr. Football wanting to take revenge on them. Why would he want revenge? Maybe because he had been abstracted. Either way, we won't know until the episode airs, which will be very, very, very soon. And hey, if my theories are right, then you should follow me. And follow me on Twitch. Both of them, please. Pretty please. I'm live right now. Anyways, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want me to do more theory videos, let me know. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Merry Christmas.